Good morning, everybody. Welcome in. Today's the last day of May. This is Tree of Life Oracles. I am Elle, and I'm here to do reading for fire signs. So this includes Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So we're going to start with a general reading. And I'm going to start with the cosmic reading cards. I had to think. Suddenly lost my train of thought there. We're going to start with the cosmic reading cards as the oracle deck. And then I'm going to jump in with tarot using the pagan ways. And then we're going to clarify with the mini everyday witch. And once we've gotten the general reading, then I'm going to break up and I'm going to pull just a couple cards using oracle and tarot for each of the signs. So we'll start with Aries first. Then we'll do Leo, then we'll do Sagittarius to give you a little more specific stuff as it pertains to your sign. Please understand these are general readings. The messages may not resonate with you at all, but I would encourage you to check out the other elemental readings. The water signs is already up. I'll be uploading air and earth as soon as I can, which hopefully will be in the next 24 to 48 hours to try to get those uploaded. I mean, the beautiful thing about working with groups of elements is that, you know, we all contain these elements in our birth charts. And so it gives you some opportunity to get an idea of what may be influencing your world right now, your spiritual development. For here at Tree of Life Oracles, the goal here is I work with spirit to deliver messages that are really meant to be transformative for us as individuals. And sometimes it may also include things that pertain to love, money, business, and some of those other things. But the real focus is about personal transformation. The reason being is that as we personally transform, as we become that embodiment of that, the perfection that we were always meant to be, we start to manifest all of those other things in just by simply being in the right energetic space, in the right head space, in the right heart space, more importantly. So just keep that in mind as we're doing this. Again, this is meant to be general. And if you don't think it resonates with you, then you might check out your specific sign. If you're one of the fire signs, but check out one of your specific signs and see if that helps. If not, it's not your reading, and that's okay. I'm hoping if you do like it, you will like and subscribe and you push that notification bell, just because it helps the channel and helps me to get this message out to more people. This is really about building community, a community of the future that embodies beings who are whole, who feel empowered, who feel blessed, who are in gratitude, and who embody wellness in general. So that's where this channel is going to be a little different than some of the others, but I hope you'll like and subscribe. And I'll be developing other things as I go, other topics, classes, forums, that kind of thing. Please join in. I'm so very grateful that you decided to stop in today. And this reading is timeless, even though I'm reading it for June and I'm reading it for the fire signs today. It really is timeless. So whenever you stumble upon it, it's meant for you. It's your reading. So hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. And I'm going to begin with the cosmic reading cards by Nari, Anastarsia. I love these. All right. All right, my great spirit beings and archangels and partners in wisdom, ascended masters. What do we have for the fire signs for the month of June? Oh, here's the perfect one. New chapter. Well, you can't get any more specific than that, huh? One more. Let's do one more. No, let's do two more. I think two is good. Here's one. The Shadow Self. Ooh, what a pretty card. And last one. Fire signs for June. Oh, last one is transformation. Wow, fire signs. That's pretty impressive stuff. Now, I happen to be a fire sign myself. And so I know what we've all been going through as a group of individuals over the last, for me, it's probably been 4 or 5 years. For some of you, it might not have been that long, but I certainly know over the past few months what it's been. So let's look at this. So this first one is new chapter. It's a 24, which really breaks down as number 6. I just love this. I love these cards. If you have any connection to star beings or universal energies, these cards cannot be beat for sure. And then you have this one, the shadow self. That's probably the most beautiful shadow work card I think I've ever seen. Trying to keep the light glare off there for you. That number is a 28. So that's a 10, right? This breaks down to a 6, to a 10. This one's also a 6. This is the transformation card. Alrighty. So already this sets the tone for June for those of us who are fire signs, in that we're starting a new chapter. We have been dealing with our shadow selves, and that doesn't mean that we're not completely done with the shadow selves. We might be, but we might not be. But what that's triggered is a lot of transformation, and all of that work you've been doing to really work on yourself within and without, it's going to start to come to fruition in a very, very real and tangible way. All right, so I want to use pagan ways, I think, to do the clarifying. Now, I pre-shuffle my decks. I have thumb damage on both hands, so I can't shuffle as ballistically as I used to after injuring my thumb. So I pre-shuffle because it takes me a while to do it, and then I just go through. My guys are really nice about popping them up for me. So, all right, so we've got Midsummer. This is the Queen of Wands, another great Aries card. Certainly a fiery card. Wow, we have the Three of Swords, Sorrow. And this particular deck does have keywords on it. I don't always read keywords, and I may not use the keyword. I read both intuitively and from a long history of studying tarot as well. So I do both ways. And then the Ten of Pentacles, and the keyword on that one's tradition. All right, let's do one more for each of these rows here. We have the Six of Wands, Victory. We have Rebirth, which is really the Judgment card in a traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Last one. Nope, that's 2. Give me just 1, please. There we go. 2 of Pentacles, Balance. Okay. Wow, wow, wow. These are beautiful. Okay, new chapter. Queen of Wands and the Six of Wands. Now, when we look at the Queen of Wands is a fire card. It's a card of fire, obviously. Wands are about that fire energy, okay? They're about creativity, passion, sexuality, joy. It's really about the embodiment of action. Do, right? So the Queen of Wands is very much one of these. She is the charismatic, she's the girl, the lady, when she walks in a room, everybody stops to look because she's got that kind of inner fire, power, charisma. She's confident. She moves in, but she still has grace. You know, it's not about ego and being overpowering. She has grace. She just understands her own inner fire and her own power. And it's magnetic to other people. So that's a really cool thing to see. And then below, we've got the Six of Wands. I'm sorry, the Six of Wands, yeah. Now this card, interestingly, is a very cool looking card. By cool, I mean cooler tones, you know, blues and greens and things like that. Even though it's a wand and it's fire sign. But the thing with Six of Wands is really about achievement. It's about getting noticed, getting rewarded, but it's not necessarily, it could be a prize of some sort, but it's really more about your peers, your family, your society, your work group, whomever your group is, whoever your people are, about you really getting kudos from them. They're starting to really take notice and understand that you know, you are on fire and you are back and ready to go. Now, let's be clear with queen energy. A queen may be an archetype in the world that we associate with women, but understand this is really about energy. So we're not talking genders. We're not talking about specific solidness of male and female. We're talking about how energy flows. And each of us has, on the right side, we have the actionable energy that is more masculine in nature. And on the left side of the body, we have the feminine energy, which is where we receive. We give and we receive, okay? So understand that even though this typically looks very feminine, what this is about starting to, you're turning over a new leaf and you're starting to embody that confident person that you always knew you could be, or maybe you have been in the past and you've lost. I mean, I know in my case, I used to be this all the time. And then I needed to go in and do work as we're coming up on the shadow self. I had to go in and do some things that I needed to rectify, that I needed to address within. And I lost that for a little bit of time, but it was okay because I was transforming into something else. Now, just out of the blue, I have literally used the word shadow and transformation because it's just coming through. This is how they give it to me. So this is all networking together. I mean, it's easier to read these cards in lines or in diagonals or whatever you want to do, but the reality is all of this is integrated fire signs. So understand this. This is a process. The new chapter, the shadow work, the transformation, it is all a process that's happening at one time. And how exciting is that? Because it's transformation in motion. It is making something new. It's adapting. It's being fluid and effervescent. And it's about taking those cues, those intuitive cues that we get, and making those adjustments. And that's so powerful. Under shadow self, 3 of Swords, and rebirth. Now, that's pretty self-explanatory if we just look at the cards. We've been doing shadow work because somewhere along the way, we had some type of inner conflict. A lot of people love to read the 3 of Swords as heartache because you got 3 swords stabbing a heart typically in most Rider-Waite-Smith-based decks, okay? But here's the thing. Swords are really about thought, all right? They're air. They're about thought. And this is really about thoughts piercing the heart. Powerful thoughts. So when I look at this a lot of the time, I know for me personally, this is usually about me replaying something nasty, something that happened to me, something that hurt, replaying it over and over and over and over and over and over again. I mean, just incessantly. It's that getting obsessed with the thought, or getting obsessed with replaying it over and over again, or getting the, just that over-engaged thinking again and again and again. It just doesn't stop, right? And when we do that, we can't release it and let it go. So one of the hardest lessons I personally have ever had to learn is how to let that go. Just let it go and move on. Because in my case, and I'm not trying to make this all about me, obviously, but since I am an Aries, I can sort of provide a little baseline on this, or a little context just with myself, is that I always couldn't figure out, I would keep replaying things because it wasn't so much about not being able to release and let go of whatever that person did to me. It was more about not being able to release and let go of how I let it affect me. I hope that makes sense. I couldn't understand, like I would get all caught up in thoughts about why I couldn't let it, why does this bother me? Why didn't I respond differently? Why didn't I do this or that or the other? So it was more about, from my perspective, I was using my own thoughts to judge and blame myself when someone did something massively painful to me, some massively painful action. So I hope that maybe gives context for what we're talking about here. The beautiful thing is we have this glorious card. Now in this deck, it's called Rebirth. It is the Judgment card. And in typical Rider-Waite-Smith decks, you know, the Judgment card is basically the angel calling the souls home. You know, it's after you've learned and you've cleansed the body, and now your soul can move up and into the next, whatever the next is, you know. And in this case, I happen to love this one a lot, because if you notice, you've got the sun and the moon, so the masculine and the feminine energies. But sun is also, you know, moons can be related to, because they're emotional, so they're related to that depth of thought. I don't want to always say shadow and fear. It's just more feminine energy, so it's watery. And so it's muted and sort of murky depths. You know, when you stand out and you look at the glory of a full moon, the moon itself shines in all its glory. That is the embodiment of the feminine. And in most indigenous teachings, the moon is associated with grandmother, so grandmother moon. So she shines in all of her glory and feminine wisdom. Sophia for all of us, right? But what happens as the moon shines that light is that we become aware. If we're standing outside on a full moon, and tonight is starts the Sagittarius, I believe no, not tonight. Next couple of nights will be the Sagittarius full moon. And as you stand out in the full moon and its beauty, what you start to notice is that around you, where trees are, or maybe the roof of your home or something like that, you start to see their shadows that you can't quite penetrate with your vision, you know? So this is where intuition comes into play. So a lot of times the moon is associated with shadow, but it really isn't. It's not about saying that all feminine energy is shadowy and negative. No, on the contrary, it's the part of us that helps us to embrace our intuitive selves, to really see through, not just to have to do not to have to understand just what our eyes see, but what do our senses in general tell us. And it's really important to remember that, okay? And then you have the green man here in the center, two faces of the green man. The green man is a pagan symbol, and by pagan, we mean nature-based, in more ancient times prior to the organization of Catholicism, most spiritually based thoughts in some of the older tribes and groups and towns, villages. The green man is really he's sort of the god of the wood, or the birth of the tree. And when it was time for the green man at Beltane, which is a more pagan holiday around May, Beltane just happened. It's really about the fertility of spring, the fertility rites of spring. And so the green man is looking in two directions. This is really about embodying that robustness, moving in from spring to summer, moving in from the lighter growth of spring, the early growth, into the full lushness of summer. And then you have the sun, and what you notice on this particular sun, which is reminiscent of more masculine energy, but the sun also has, there's a developing baby in there that begins to show us this is where fertility begins, because we're moving from the winter into the summer, rebirth. Sorry, that was a long-winded out explanation, but I felt like it was important for the imagery. Case in point with this is that we've been doing shadow work, many of us. Many of us will continue to do some shadow work to really address all of those things within us that we were afraid to look at before, or that we didn't want to see before, or that we were ashamed of seeing before. Now is the time to release the shadow, release the shame. We incarnate to learn lessons and to begin to have more information, to learn things, to do things so that the soul can expand. And there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be blamed for. And there's only growth to be had. So we can't be afraid. And the thing I love about this Shadow Self card is you see the lightning bolts coming down. That's the burst of information the divine intervention. It's the verse of information from the cosmos, from the divine saying, here, you're learning this when you really focus. And what you start to see is you start to see even these rainbow colors. You're starting to see that there's shades of light. You know, the rainbow is a spectrum of light. And sometimes we tend to get caught up, and we all do it. Everybody in the, more spiritual communities, and even in religious speaking and things like that, we tend to get caught up in this notion of right and wrong, black or white. But when you've lived long enough, you start to realize that maybe things are not as clear as we wanted them to be. And I think what's beautiful about this is that even though this is a card talking about shadow self, your inner workings, the part of you that maybe you didn't want to deal with, the lightning bolt from the cosmos has come in. The divine is saying, wake up and look at this. There's nothing to be afraid of. Look what you've learned. Look how you've grown and adapted. And look at all these colors and subtleties that it's given you. It's given you all this robustness, the greenness of new growth, and the yellow of illumination, and the red of stability and security. It's giving you all of this if you just open your eyes and take a look. And what's beautiful too is this is a 10. 10s are about the end of cycles, the cycle ending. Try not to get glare on that card there. So it's over. This part, the nasty part, is over. Now it's time to reap the benefit and the beauty from having gone through all of the shadow work. It's totally worth it now, because we're moving into transformation. We're transforming not just within, but without. For this being, you see all this glorious green. And again, green is heavy in this reading, and it's fantastic. There's lots of orange and red too, because hey, those are fiery colors. But this green is new growth, right? It's lush, it's beautiful. And what you're starting to see is that the green is moving out of the body, because when we transform the self, the person, our within, it starts to move without. And then we contribute to the beauty of the world. We contribute to transformation in the world just by transforming ourselves and embodying and loving ourselves, the most beautiful parts of ourselves and the parts that we had to do all this shadow work on. Because you know what? All you need is love, self-love, love of all. It's the way it works. That's the cleansing energy for us all. So you can't be afraid to embrace the ugly or to look at the ugly, because the ugly helped make you into the perfect, beautiful being that you are, that you're becoming, that you're transforming. And that transformation, just in this card, starts to leach from you. This is like a leaf, a tree with leaves. And through the leaves, your own leaves, the leaves that you leave behind, the leaves that you expand in your form, all of these beautiful things, you are sharing that transformation with the world and with people around you. And that helps to spark the transformation within them as well. We want a better world. This is the way. We have to transform ourselves. This is backed up with a 10 of Pentacles. I like to call this one the long-term stable happiness card, right? This is stability. This is security. This is abundance. This is standing in your earth strength, the kind of strength that you have where you're grounded in earth. Now they have this particular author calls that tradition. And I'm with that, I don't typically think of the 10 of Pentacles as that. I think of it as you being able to transcend tradition and understand that even traditions, in order to be fully abundant, the traditions have to be transformed, okay? And that's not to question the author. I can only get what's coming in from the spirit, right? But, and with that comes balance. I do agree with this one, the 2 of Pentacles. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you see a jester who is, he's got the limnicate, which is the infinity symbol, the sideways figure 8, and he's trying to balance those pentacles, right? And in this case, this is balancing out. One star is in the heavens and the other's on the ground. So grounding yourself and listening, receiving from the divine. As above, so below. So this is balance of energies, grounding ourselves, and yet being so open spiritually that we can receive such beautiful information from the cosmos. You know, I'm looking at this as I go through this reading, and I feel like this reading, there really doesn't need to be any additional clarification. So I think for the general point, I'm going to stop there. That's where Spirit wants me to go. I'm going to clear these cards, and then we're going to start with Aries, and we're going to do just a quick reading for Aries. And once we're done with Aries, then we'll do Leo, and then we'll finish out with Sagittarius. If you don't have any interest in looking at the individual sign readings, then thank you so much for joining in. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you'll come back. Please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so we can get these messages of transformation, love, and joy out to everyone. Hello, Aries. Let's get into your specific reading. So for the Oracle deck, I'm going to use the Native Spirit Oracle by Denise Linn. So spirits, guides, Archangel, calling out to my team. What are the messages for Aries specifically for June? We have Storyteller. Anything else? Oh, that one wants to come out. The Spirit Keeper of the North. All right. Hello, Leos. We're going to start with your June specific message using the Native Spirit Oracle by Denise Linn. Spirit, what do we have for the Leos out there? Grandfather Sky. Whoa, that one came flying out. And Vision Quest. Ooh, Leo, that's a pretty powerful card. You know, it's interesting, Leo. Aries had an almost similar experience come out where you get the first card is really about sharing your passion and your joy and your beingness with others, and then having a card of that also reminds us that inner contemplation is necessary. So when we look at Grandfather Sky, you know, it's really about reaching for the stars. Being vital, being healthy, exuberant, being your most wonderful self and sharing that with the world, finding all those wonderful things that you're so excited about, you're so joyful about, passionate about, and, you know, getting out there and experiencing all of it. And at the same time, then there's Vision Quest. In Indigenous teachings, a vision quest is really where you know, a warrior in particular, but it could be anyone in the tribe, would go into the wilderness on their own, and they would go into trance and the dream state to do the vision quest on their own. They wouldn't eat or drink or anything. So they would begin to have their dream visions as they embodied them. And often that vision quest would speak about messages that they needed to learn, or what their role was going to be going forward, or what their spirit animal, their totem animal would be, so that they could connect with that and embody the most blessed form of that being and things like that. So it's also about realizing that live for life and be joyous, and, you know, share your happiest, most joyful, vital self with others. But at the same time, don't forget that you do need to go within, whether that's meditation, whether it's contemplation, whether it's you know, some type of introspective learning, a course that you take or something like that. Make sure that you go within so that the universe can remind you of areas where you may still need to do work, or you may still need understanding. So let's see what the Witch's Oracle has to tell us as well. I'm sorry, the Witch's Tarot. We have the Shadow Self. And actually, they're telling me that one goes here. And we have Three of Cups. Are there others? No? No, okay. And I think this just confirms it. So with Three of Cups, you know, that's often a card of groups and whether it's family, friends, getting together, having a party, going to whatever, a wedding, an event. It's really about sharing and caring, you know, in your group of beings. And with Grandfather Sky, it's about sharing that most beautiful, radiant, loving Leo part of yourself, sharing all that gorgeous sun energy that you have, all that fire energy, just sharing it with the world. And with the Vision Quest, this confirms the shadow side. This is actually, the shadow, in this deck, the shadow side is actually what would normally be the Devil card, the 15 card. So this is about making sure you go on the Vision Quest, that you do contemplation or meditation, so that you really address the parts of you on the inside that continue to need a little work. Because if you do that, if you make an effort to do this part, it's just going to make your ability to share and to care and to empower yourself and others, it's just going to make that all the more powerful. Let's see if anything needs clarification. Let's look at this. I think that for the shadow, this shadow side, I think we need to clarify something in there. Let's see. This is the mini everyday witch. I love it, but they're still a little stiff. All right, Spirit, what do we got for this? Here we go. Six of Swords. This is about moving forward, being positive, thinking more positively so that you can move forward. So again, that just really confirms what you're seeing here in the Vision Quest. So I hope that this is helpful. A helpful way to center in on June is, you know, sharing your glorious, lovely lion self, your sun energy with the world, but at the same time making sure that you have moments of contemplation and thought, and that you really begin to invest within yourself so that you don't forget and leave those parts of you behind that might need a little bit of work. Stay positive. This is the positive thinking card so that you can move forward into calmer waters. I hope this is beneficial for you, Leo. Have a blessed June, and I look forward to seeing you next month. Hello, Sagittarius. Let's get started for your month of June specifics. We're going to use the Native Spirit Oracle by Denise Linn to give us some starting energies for that. Let's see what we have for Sagittarius spirits team. The Flowing River and the Peace Pipe. Okay, Sagittarius, the Flowing River. This is about allowing your inner soul to be fluid, about when you run into snags or you run into obstacles or thoughts, emotions, allow yourself to go with the flow. This isn't about necessarily having control or jurisdiction over what you feel, what others do. Remember that the only thing you really have any control over is how you respond to something. And this is about flowing free and allowing your emotions to weather life, realizing, of course, even though there are rapids that water, those emotions are going over, there is a beautiful sunrise, okay? So weather the emotions, weather the rough spots, knowing that joy of the sunrise is coming up. And the Peace Pipe, this is a tradition of indigenous tribes in North America of warring factions would get together and they would smoke the sacred tobacco in the pipe and they would pass it around. And the expectation with the Peace Pipe is that as you smoked the sacred tobacco, there would be no lies between the sides, that they would all speak the truth, and they would speak it with compassion and with honesty and respect for the other warrior. So this is looking a lot like there might be some bumps and bruises that have happened, some hurt emotions along the way with other people. And instead of being reactionary with other people when they do things we don't like, or when they do things that we think are directed at us, it's about being able to have that open and honest yet compassionate conversation, a conversation of respect. And, you know, it's easy to ignore when somebody does something, to hold on to the hurt and just ignore, not have the conversation. That's a little passive aggressive, and we don't want to go there. So the peace pipe is reminding us that we should have these conversations, but we need to have them with respect, and we need to have them with being able to speak our truth and listen and receive the other person's truth as well, from a place of respect and compassion and peace. That's really a beautiful card. There's nothing more beautiful than the peace pipe when it comes to conflict, you know? And the flowing river as well. That going with the flow has been a factor for a lot of us for a while now, especially as fire signs. We're not really good with that, you know? All right, Spirit, what do you have for the flowing river? Ace of Wands. And for the peace pipe, the Star. That's really beautiful. You know, the Ace of Wands, is that new energetic beginning. And with that beautiful, you see it, it's in the ground, it's got the ribbons off it, it's victorious, it's growing flowers, and there's a beautiful butterfly at the sunrise. Butterflies are transformation. The wand is your energy. It's blooming and blossoming. This is in celebration of that new glorious beginning, that new energetic beginning. This is where the flowing river leads. It's about not being uptight and not being so bumped around by all the stones that we meet along the way. It's by keeping focused on the sunrise, keep our fluidity going, and understanding that new beginning is coming. I'm being guided to pull one of these now. This is the mini Everyday Witch Tarot. Oops, there it is, right there. Five of Pentacles. They want me to give you another one. Oop, there it is. So Five of Wands and Five of Pentacles. You know, usually with Five of Wands, it's like in this, it shows all the witches, they're getting together and they're kind of having a conference there. But what they're really doing is they're conflicted. You know, they're sort of gossiping and ganging up. And this one is about feeling like you're left out in the cold. Fives are cards of change, changing within, changing how we perceive where we are. They can kind of be summed up as cards that express lack. So this is about moving out of these states of lack. You're ready to change, Sagittarius. You're ready to change with how you deal with practical matters and how you deal with ideas and your energy and your creativity, your passions. It's time for change. And the flowing river says, going with the flow, learning to weather, gently flow through the bumps and bruises, focusing on that sunrise, leads you to that beautiful new beginning. This is the transformation. This is where it all starts anew. This is where you get to start again and be inspired again. The peace pipe is further clarified by the Star. That's the card of healing. That's hopes and dreams. You notice she's tempering the water, kind of like the temperance angel and the deck. Those are emotions. Again, it's speaking of being fluid, balancing your emotions out, listening and speaking, but being in a place of respect and peace and calm. Not just going in with that fiery energy, not being passive aggressive, not being overly aggressive, just coming in a place of peace and a place of respect. It's a new beginning for you in June, Sagittarius. You're ready for change. And I know this sounds like it's a kind of reading, but it isn't. It's telling you you're ready to move to the other side. Just do it. Just alter your behavior and do it. You're ready. You're ready. You're ready to get out of these fives that have held you back. You're ready to get out of it by just being aware of yourself and tweaking your emotions a little bit and how you use your energy with others. So I see in the future for you that there's probably a wonderful thing coming in for you, Sagittarius. You're turning the corner. Let's pull some after tarot just to see if we have a different ending. What's coming after these changes in June? For Sagittarius uses June to sort of get a handle on how they work with others and how they handle their emotions and states of feeling like they're lacking and stuff like that. What comes next as they transform? So 5 of Wands, but in this tarot, this is what's happened after the conflict. You can rest, you can calm down, right? Now you can regroup and be able to have that conversation, the peace pipe conversation. What else? And you have the 7 of Pentacles. Now, normally this card in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith is about, you know, you've planted stuff and you're waiting for that harvest, for the harvest timing to be right. It hasn't come to fruition, but it's about to. And this one is, look, you've already gotten one of those pentacles. It's paying off. Change is coming, it's paying off. So now you can start moving forward with that pentacle, right? That's fantastic. So see, beautiful things are around the corner. Practical things. The thing with this card is it's practical. Practical changes are around the corner, Sagittarius. Believe. Do. Go forth. Shine your light bright. Use that fire sign in ways that benefit everybody and not as a weapon. So anyway, I just give the messages. I give the messages the way they put them in my head. So I just got a song in my head. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see who you are. It's from one of my favorite movies. Called On a Clear Day. So it's talking about being able to see, you can see forever when you're in a place of joy. So I hope that's helpful. Yes, my spirits do make me sing sometimes. I very much receive music. I hope this has been helpful and uplifting. You are a beloved child of God. And I wish you nothing but peace and joy in June. I'll see you next month, Sagittarius. Bye-bye.